Hi, I'm Sandi Genovese, and today we are creating a spring themed card. It's dimensional, which of course I love, and you can see this accordion strip is what creates the dimensionality. So opened up, you can, if you look closely, you'll see I've got it just embellished with spring themed embellishments. So butterflies, the word spring, more butterflies, tulips, flowers, whatever kind of suits your fancy. When I close it up, you can see I've got room to write my greeting or my message here. If I had a longer message, of course, I could make this part larger. And then when it folds closed, I've got, for the cover, I've got room to put an opening message here. The whole thing is going to fit into this oversized envelope. This is, I think it's called an A9, but the dimensions of this envelope is 6 by 9, and you can see it easily accommodates the whole card. So in order to create this, let me show you how we're going to get started. We want to start with the format itself, the actual construction of the card. I used cream colored cardstock. This piece is 5.5 by 8.5. And you're going to come down 1 inch, and with your scoring tool, you're going to put a score mark at the 1 inch mark. And then I'm going to use the score as my guide to fold, and this is going to actually hold the accordion strip. We're going to fasten it here, but let's look at the accordion strip. What I did is I made 2 cards at the same time, and I did a different color so it was a little easier for you to see. But what I started with was a piece of paper that was 4 inches wide, so imagine the blue and the white, 4 inches width, 24 inches long. So I have a strip that's 24 inches by 4 inches. And then on this end, I mark 1 inch from the bottom. And over on this end, I mark 1 inch from the top. And then you can do it with a pencil, but I just, from my little tick marks, I put it in my paper cutter. And on a slant, I cut from this 1 inch mark down to this 1 inch mark. And it's going to give you both the pieces you need. Then you want to accordion fold the strip. So let me get, this one is accordion folded for the next time I want to do a card with blue. And the one that I'm going to use today is this one. You want to accordion fold in 5.5 inch increments because you want it to match the width, which is 5.5 inches of this card. It's going to sit like so. So what I'm going to do is put adhesive here, and then attach my accordion strip to that adhesive. So I want to take the end of this strip and I'll get it started where I can see it, and then I'll turn it. Maybe I can do it so you can see at the same time as me. I'm going to pull this up, line up the ends, press, fold it over, and really press against that adhesive. So believe it or not, that quick and easily, you've created the structure for the card. So it's going to fold closed like this and slide into the envelope, and it's going to open up and spread out. Now, in order to decorate it, this is the fun part. Because this is themed for spring, I'm going to start with flowers, and it's easiest to decorate from the back and go forward. Then the items aren't so much in your way. So my back layer are these large flowers, and you can see I've created several of them because I'm going to do a number of Easter cards. But all I've done is just cut different wobbly circles out of different contrasting colors and layered them inside this flower die cut. So I'm going to bring it back, and when you place this inside, this flower is going to go in one section and this one is going to go next to it. You want to keep the flowers so that they don't, when the card is closed, you don't want it to peek out, so that when you have the front of the card, you've got elements showing. So it's easiest to go ahead and put adhesive on just a couple of the bottom petals, and then I'm going to place them, and in order to see that I don't go outside the edge, I'm going to fold it over like this, and I can see from the back right when I am against the edge of the card. So I don't want to go any more than that. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put on a couple of the portions, put adhesive on just a couple of the petals, And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lay this one down in this position. And I'm going to do the same thing. I want to lay the whole thing down so I can make sure, you can see I can go a little further over. So a little closer to the edge, get every little bit out of those flowers that I can. Press on it. So I have the back layer. The next layer, if you look at the card itself, the second layer are these tulips. So what I did was I started with a die cut, and if you look here, you can see I had different ways of creating a texture or a pattern on the tulip itself. So in this example, on the green part of the tulip, I used a white pen just to add sort of a hash mark to create just what looks like checks that aren't colored in. And then on this one, I used a watermark ink pad and just a stamp to create texture on this. Here you can see I've done the same watermark ink pad, and I've left this so you could see that I'm going to cut the tops of the flowers out of different pattern papers. And as you can see, it's easy enough to make your own pattern papers if that works better. It's definitely a little less expensive. However, it does take a little more time. So you kind of have to weigh the two and decide what's best for you. Once you've created the tulips, then I'm going to attach those into this next row. And so I only need adhesive on the bottom portion. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on the first one. And I think it looks best. Go ahead. I'm going to line these up with the bottom of the card, which means I can put adhesive going a little bit further up. So if I line this up with the bottom, and I'm going to, remember I said you don't want your edges to go off? I'm probably going to trim that edge. Right now I'm going to just lightly press. I'm going to put adhesive on the base of the next, what's going to be the other end. You know, maybe this is the one that I'm going to go off the end, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing and why. I'm placing adhesive on the back of all three, but this portion of the die cut, this span of the leaves, means that if I bring this in so that I clear this edge, and I bring this in so that I clear this edge, then I really only have room for two, and I want this third flower in there. So I can stack them up like this, which kind of looks fun, or I can decide that one of the edges, and if I look back at this one, you can see I trimmed one of the edges so that I could spread the flowers out a little bit. So if I do that with this one, I'll go ahead, place the flower so that it's flush with the bottom, and I'm going to go back and trim off that end, and then I'll place the pink one so that it can fold, and I want to make sure that I don't go over the fold line. Press that down, and then this one will just go in between the two. You know, I don't ever stop to put as much adhesive as you should. I just want to make sure I can build it so you can see. So there is this layer. Now if I close it, you can see the next layer is going to go right here, and this is going to be butterflies. So if I take the butterflies, and once again, I've just taken a die cut of a butterfly. This one I've colored in with markers, and this one I've used the watermark ink pad and stamps to create the texture. But it's simple to do. And if I set this up, you'll be able to see how this is going to work. Let me put adhesive on just the tips, the bottom tips of the butterflies. And I'll go ahead and do both of them. And this one I will angle. I'm going to have to turn it toward me for a second so I can kind of see what I've got going here. I'll put this one angled this way, and this one a little more straight. I'll angle it kind of this way so you can see what I'm doing here. I can see all the layers. I've got the butterflies like this, and I'm going to lay them, it's going to open up like so. And then at this point, now the next layer is going to be the word spring. So let me take the letters, and it's going to be easiest once again to do this flat. It is the alphabet that I chose really is a little bit too large. So I'm going to put adhesive, and I'm going to have to overlap some of the letters. I know where the G is going to end, and I know that the S is going to start in the other corner. And actually, I think it looks best to move this up. So really, it looks good if everything sticks up off the edges. So now it's a question of, I'm going to put adhesive on the bottom section of each of the alphabet letters, and then I'm going to overlap some of them in order to get them all to fit. So when I'm doing stuff like this, I'm busy looking at how it looks, and sometimes I'll realize I've totally misspelled it because I'm looking at the shape and not at spelling. So if I do this incorrectly, once I hold it up and look at it, hopefully then I'll notice if I've done anything that's spelled wrong, and I can fix it at that point. So I'll tuck this like this, and this like this. So just created an upside down. I may have created a pattern that's not as pleasing. Let me look at it, but just create the word so that you like how it looks. And then the final little area here is going to be where I add another little set of butterflies. And this set of butterflies, to make a different kind of texture, I'm going to take the top one and I'm going to punch with an 1/8 inch hole punch, some circles, and then I'm going to take a 1/16 inch and punch more circles, just randomly. You don't need to worry about any kind of placement. It's just going to create the look of polka dots. So that now if I put adhesive on the back of the dotted one, and place it over the top of the blue one, you end up looking like you have a green butterfly with blue polka dots. It's fun to do and it's easy. And then this is going to go on the end. I need adhesive on this section here. So I will turn this facing me so I can kind of see what I'm doing here. Position this final element like so. And you can see how it's creating the card. Now, if you want someplace where you're going to write your message, then you need, I just used this as an indication of where I'm going to put my message. So I would go back, put adhesive on there, trim it to the edge in order to get this look that you see here. And then the final element is to close the card up and add whatever would be for the cover. So if I close this up like so, this isn't the same elements, but it would still work. If you're going to write a message and you need lines, you can find striped paper, and then you don't have to worry. You can use the lines, the stripes in the paper can be your guide. And then go back, I'll add some black dots to the ladybug if I choose to use that, or maybe I'll use the butterfly. Play around with the assortment of however you want this to look. But basically, whatever you do to the front, whether it's this or whether it's this, dragonflies and leaves, just to match the theme of spring. And then when you open it up, you have all of your wonderful dimensionality. Now, this is doing a spring theme, but it's so easy to take this structure and make it theme for whatever you want. If you didn't happen to notice or didn't catch it, for Valentine's Day, I did a project where I did the same format, but with hearts, X's and O's for hugs and kisses, and the word love for a Valentine, or it would also be great for like an anniversary. But you can see it's created the same way, the same structure, even the same dimensions. And if you want to see a third option, my Christmas card this year, I used the same theme. So here was my message. And when you open this up, you can see this was the same idea, but themed for Christmas. You know, the accordion folded strip, it presents so many places to add flowers, butterflies, and all kinds of other spring-themed embellishments. Remember, I love hearing your comments. Be sure to share us with your scrapbooking and your crafting friends. If you want to, you can like us with a thumbs up. Don't forget to sign up for these free weekly videos. However, if you want access to hundreds of past episodes, or if you want to be able to print a full color instruction sheet, then you might want to consider joining the Gold Club. Bye for now.